You know what? I really needed some introduction music for myself. But imagine my introduction music going. My name is Brad Williams. I'm the marketing automation manager for InContact. And today I'm going to do a short presentation. It's going to be really short. I'm going to hopefully do this in less than 10 minutes on Eloqua segmenting and really specifically just what the words mean when you're in a segment and you're creating the segment. So without further ado, here I go. All right, in this slide, I've got segment A, and segment A is made up of Mike and his boys, all right? And I've also thrown Alice in here, so this is my first segment. I'm gonna call it A. We call this the Brady's, the OG Brady's, the originals. Now, here's segment two. This is Carol and her children here, and also Alice, all right? So this is segment B, and these guys are called, these are the Martins, all right? And as you know, in a very famous show, something happened with these two groups, and we're going to do it. We're going to look at this in Eloqua. I've created some segments. Here they are. We've got Mike Brady and Sons and Carol Martin and Daughters. And there's five in each of these, all right? So the question I have up, you know what happened. This group somehow became a family. What do we get when we merge? Well, what happens if I were to put the two of these together? I wanted to make the Brady Bunch, all right? Now, another word that you'll use in this, if you're using filters and you're building this in filters so that you're building your group using filters, the word for merge in filters is the word or. So or and merge are synonymous, but not in the same place, all right? So what do we get? What number do I get if I add the two of these together? So think about this. I'm going to take the 5 Mike Brady and Sons plus Alice and the 5 Carol Martin and Daughters. And, you know, simplistically, you'd think, oh, 5 plus 5, that's 10. If you're thinking that, you're going to be wrong. What is the answer? Well, a lot of you guys figured this out. It's 9 because when I take those two, and you can see this down here, when I take group A and group B and put them together, well, what is the one part that was duplicated in here that's going to disappear? Well, that part in this list is Alice Nelson. Here she is, and she is part of both groups, so I can only count her once, and so your total equals that to be 9. And I think most of you guys understand that, but when you're looking at this, the word or is the one that adds them together, or the word merge is the one that puts them together. And the duplicated data is not removed, it's just simplified. I should say that in a better way. It's not removed, it's just simplified. If it's a duplicate, then it's only counted once. Oh, sad times. We've got a Brady divorce. I don't think that was the name of the Brady Bunch, which is the divorce, but we're modernizing this, you know, and I'm going to call it the Brady Martin divorce. So we're going to look at what happens when you want to separate out two groups, or you want to see what is individual of each of those groups. And the word that you use in this is you'll use trim. And sometimes this is good, like you're like, well, what group, if I were to take everybody else out that was in one filter. So, you know, in this case, I've used a very simplistic approach, but you know, you may have something in your database that's like everybody that's done this over a certain amount of time, and then this is the list for your people that are going out regionally, and you want to say, well, how many of those people are not this? And so you have to choose which group, A or B, and in this case, the Brady's or the Martins, do you want to trim with? So in this case, what I'm going to do, and I want you to think about the numbers here, is what would happen if I were to take if I were to trim group A, which is the boys, and I'm going to take everything from the girls out of them. So anything that the girls had, I'm trimming it from the boys. What's my number going to be left like? And what's that going to comprise of? All right, have you thought of the answer? I think that you might have. The answer is 4. If I were to take A and I was to trim from it everything that was in B, who was the one person that used to be in there? Well, it was Alice. She was in there, and so she's now been trimmed from this, and it takes it down to 4. So, you know, if we were to put this into some other, let's say that all of these people were everybody that you had in a group that had. This was everything that you had in a regional area, and then this was everybody out there in the world that had text messages, you know, that you could text message. Well, let's say that you wanted to trim from A, everyone with text messages. Well, the list that you'd have left would be everyone in that area that didn't have text messages. That would just be the ones left that didn't have the capability. So, hopefully that's a better way that, I don't know if you would use that, but I just want to show you that's what trimming is. Now you can trim the other way. This time it's the Martins that are leaving. So you can trim the other way. This time I'm trimming group B with group A. So group A is being taken away from this. In this example, what's that answer? It's 4 once again, and I think you figured that out really quickly. But you can see here I've got the Martins, the Brady's, and the Brady's are going to take everything that they had from the Martins, and it's just going to leave left the Martins, Carol, Marcia, Jan, and Cindy. Okay, those are the only ones that are going to be left. Now, the interesting thing about this one is that maybe let's take the inverse of my example before. Here's my regional area. Here's everyone with text messages, but this time I want to take everyone from the regional area from from that other group. So what I'm going to be left with is I'm going to be left with people that have text messages that are not in that regional area. Do you see what I mean? And it's just the other way to look at it. Okay, so there's one other term that we're going to use when you're building these, and that is, how did the Brady's hook up? What is common? What's the intersection? And the other word that we're going to use this is when you're doing filtering is you're going to use the word and really when you're filtering you only have those two words, and or, that you can use. So when you use and, what it does is it says which one has both characteristics of both group. And so think about this. I know you already know the answer, but which one between these two groups, if I were to intersect them, is common? Well, the answer is one, just Alice Nelson. There she is. She's the one that is in this group, and she's in this group. So when you're using the word and, realize that it's kind of an exclusive word. You have to belong in both worlds. You have to have both. You're more rare because you have to have personality and looks and smarts. Oh, that's a unicorn. It doesn't exist. So just think about that. And is exclusive. So when your group must somehow form a family, remember your segmentation rules. And you can see that I've created this document, and on the next slide you're going to even see it bigger. And you can take this and put that up on your cubicle and look at it when you're building your segmentation rules. I hope you find that useful. Here it is in the large. Once again, trimming, just A, just B, trim A, trim B. This is when you put an or statement, both of them together. This is when you're merging them. It's the information in the middle that gets removed of the duplication. It really would look more like this one. And then this is the intersect and how that would look. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. This is my email address. You can also find me on LinkedIn or put them there. I'm the marketing automation manager here at Didn't Contact.